So sorry for the technical difficulties. Can y'all hear me okay? Give us like a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear this. Jana, can you say something?
Hello.
I hear you great now.
I don't know what was happening.
Okay. Can y'all hear us? Let us know in the chat so that we can make sure. Okay, perfect. I'm seeing some yeses. Good. Okay, I'm going to go on mute and allow you to do your intro again because I can tell you was saying some beautiful things, and then we'll get started.
I really appreciate y'all. We really love community because I was just out here talking and none of you could hear me.
But everybody stayed on. We still have 72 beautiful people tuned in for International Women's Day, which is such a celebration of you and the project that you brought into the world. So it doesn't even matter because everybody's still here. You still look amazing. Now folks can hear us. So please, everybody, put some hearts in the chat, some thumbs up, some.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much, Brea. All right, I'm going to do this all over again. Wow, and I was really halfway through my entire bit. Crazy. Welcome everybody. For folks who don't know, again, my name is Jana Naomi Smith. I'm the creator, writer, director of Red for Revolution, which are streaming right now wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you all for taking the time to share space with us today. And for those of you who have been tuning in to our show, thank you. Every stream, every listen, every like, review, share matters so much, and it really helps us to further our intention of spreading revolutionary love and making this world more human dwelling. So today's International Women's Day, a day meant to celebrate women and gender expansive folks, resilience, brilliance, beauty, legacies, and futures. So that's something that I really hope our show achieves, and it's such an honor to gather with you all on this occasion. So in the spirit of International Women's Day, I'd love to read a brief quote for you all, if that's okay. I'm going to share some words once said by one of the most influential people of the 20th century. We have a number of namesakes in Red for Revolution, and Lorraine Hansberry is one of them. And so I'd love to share some words that she once wrote for you all. So in 1957, Hansberry wrote to the Ladder magazine, which was a homophile magazine that emerged in the 50s. And she writes this anonymous letter to this magazine, and this is what she says. I'm glad as heck that you exist. You are obviously serious people, and I feel that women, without wishing to foster any strict separatist notions, homo or hetero, indeed have a need for their own publications and organizations. Our problems, our experiences as women are profoundly unique compared to the other half of the human race. Women, like the other oppressed groups of one kind or another, have particularly had to pay a price for the intellectual impoverishment that the second-class status imposed on us for centuries created and sustained. Thus, I feel that the latter is a fine elementary step in a rewarding direction. So this is what Hansberry says in the 50s, and what stands out to me is what she says at the top, which is, I'm glad as heck that you exist. I'm glad as heck that you exist, is what she says. I want us to sit with that for a moment and let that sink into your bones. We are living through a time not unfamiliar, but nevertheless a moment where there are national attempts to legislate Black, brown, disabled, immigrant, trans, queer people out of rights, out of history, out of the arts, out of publications, out of the media, and out of existence. So to honor the people, the places, and the publications, and the organizations, and the works of art, and the artists that we love and that we are glad to know exist is so crucial. To share space and love with you all is not only an honor, but it is a blessing that was paid for by many unsung in blood and sacrifice. I can't really express how wonderful it is to be in community and for this to be possible. Similarly, though, I think our gathering is a fine elementary step in the right direction. I hope the conversation that we're about to have helps and inspires us to take our fights, our dreams, and our hopes to the next level. We have some credible guests joining us tonight. Some of my favorite people, Liz, Lloren, Jordan, Tammy, Jennifer, Renée, Brea. You have no idea how much it means to me that you all decided to take the time to share with us all. And I'd love to give another shout out to the rest of the R4R team, our wonderful producer, Liz McBee, Nikita at We Inspire Justice, James Ward on our publicity team. This work cannot have been done without you, so I really want to show you all some love and gratitude. Now, I know who y'all really want to hear from, so I'm not going to take up too much time. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. It really brings me so much joy to bring up our first guests, two of my dear friends, Liz and Lloren, the founders of one of my all-time favorite businesses, Trois Apothecary, a queer Black-owned wellness company. They have the best incense blends and teas, y'all. So Liz and Lloren will be leading us in a grounding exercise. So let me bring them on up momentarily. Y'all been so patient with me. I really appreciate it.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm so good. How are you both?
We're so good.
We're so good. And we're so happy to be here. Can everyone hear us? Just making sure that our sound is good as well.
Good sound. But we're just so happy to be here. This is a full circle moment to support you and to love on you. Wow.
Yeah.
We got stories, y'all. We got stories. Our little round table moments. But Jana, we're just so proud of you and just everyone who's a part of this project. It has taken over our morning walks.
Mm-hmm.
It is just like, what's gonna happen next? So we're just really happy to be here.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess transition. So yes, we're here. We're Trois Apothecary. I'm Liz. This is my spouse, Lloren. And we are honored to be a part of a grounding moment, especially on Women's International Day. And speaking of all the connections and all the things, we thought it was really perfect to burn our number 5, which is our confident and centered. Now, this blend has been around and it has been proven to really ignite a fire in us or to really help us find ourselves again. This is really focusing on our sacral chakra and our solar plexus. So our sacral is where our creativity is, it's where our power is, it's our sex center. It makes us feel in our bodies. And the solar plexus is really much about our confidence. So number 5 being a very grounding blend, it's also a very amplifying blend for us, like for anyone who needs to feel back in their body. And we feel like today was perfect for Women's International Day for us to just feel in our power and in our confidence. So, yeah. Okay.
So I'm super excited to. Hi, I'm Lloren. I use they and they pronouns, and I want to really just invite us in this space to call back what's ours, to call back our energy, to call back everything that might feel a little bit far away, to call back what we need. And so as I start to burn, I invite you guys to take in that deep breath, to really find a comfortable sit, a comfortable place inside of your body. Maybe give a soft gaze of the eyes, a soft close if that feels aligned for you. And for me, in my practice, I invite you to bring your hands together and try to create a little bit of heat. Creating this energy in your hands allows you to connect your external energy with your internal energy. And as we create this heat, I want you to imagine that you're balling up just a little bit of energy. And as you're balling up that little bit of energy, imagine it getting a little bit bigger. Connecting with your breath, connecting with this moment. And it gets a little bit bigger. And with this energy in your hands, I want you to set an intention for yourself. As you hold this energy in your hands, give it a job, give it a purpose. And when you have that intention, I invite you to place one hand on the heart and one hand on the belly, allowing that energy to flow from your palms into your heart space, nourishing you, and from your other palm into your belly, finding that comfort, that stillness, fueling yourself here as we take in a collective deep breath in and out. And on this next inhale, I want you to gather everything in your body that's no longer serving you, holding it at the top as we breathe in and letting it go on the exhale. Doing this once more to complete the cycle as we breathe in. Whatever is left, holding at the top, visualizing what is no longer yours. And on the exhale, letting it go. Finding yourself here in this moment. I invite gratitude. I invite strength. I invite wholeness. And I encourage you to remember how worthy you are of peace, how worthy you are to be in this body right here, right now. And as we find that moment with a final collective breath in and out, bringing hands back together, closing that circle, and knowing everything that you do for your body, for your mind, for your spirit belongs to you. It is no one else's. It is your relationship. It is divinely and beautifully created by you. And as we come back into the space, coming back into maybe a eye-open moment, getting ready to receive these beautiful words from these folks who put together this incredible project. I invite you to walk with this energy. Thank you, guys.
Thank you both so much. You all see why they're my favorite. Because somebody put the link to all of the stuff, their website and their Instagram handle in the chat below. Liz and Lloren of the Trois Apothecary, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I love you too so much, really. I'm going to now bring back up the freedom fighter, the journalist, the writer whose must-read book, Rooted, is out now, Brea Baker. Y'all give it up for Brea in the chat. I'm about to bring her up. Thank you again, Liz. Y'all give me just a moment to bring in Brea.
Thank you so much, Jana. I appreciate you. And thank you, Liz and Lloren, for that beautiful grounding. I feel like that's exactly what we needed. So I'm going to shift us into the panel, but we're sending y'all both love and feel free to hop off. Ready?
Thank you for having us.
Thank you both. Appreciate you deeply. Okay, great. So I am going to transition us into the panel. And we are going to talk to two of the actors, actresses, creatives, brilliant minds who helped to bring this body of work to life. First of all, I know that Jana introduced herself briefly, but she is the creator and magician behind this project. But as she says as well, this is a labor of love, and it depends on so many women who lent their talents and their gifts and their platforms towards this space. And so I'm so excited to bring up Jennifer Beals and Jordan Hull. So if you both can request to join the chat, and we'll bring you both up as well. And as you're doing so, I just want to ground that in this panel, we're going to talk to about two folks at a time. Hey, Jordan.
Oh, hi.
Perfect. Thank you so much for jumping on. We appreciate and see you and are grateful for you. Hopefully Jennifer is jumping on now too. But yeah, so we're going to kind of do this panel in two parts because IG Live lets us have four people on at the same time, max. And so we're going to start off with Jennifer and Jordan, who both bring certain characters to life, who are integral to making this project what it is, and who we are excited to talk more about the creative processes with, what intention they bring when they're telling stories that center and ground women, and why it was important that they be a part of a project like this. Jana, I don't know, can you invite Jennifer up as well so we can have her on?
Yeah, I just sent her an invite.
Okay,
I
perfect.
see she was in the chat, so she should be on in just a moment.
Okay, perfect. Well, we'll start with you, Jordan, and we don't need to belabor too long. But first of all, how are you? Happy International Women's Day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Okay, so I mean, can you tell us first and foremost, what about this project made you say yes? What about this project, Red for Revolution, excited you? What about the stories that are told about women excited you?
Oh my God. I mean, I think when I heard about Red for Revolution, my two favorite things, jazz and then political activism, I was like, this is perfect. So not only the content of the story, but the people that were a part of it were really important to me. I got wind of this project through Jennifer, and of course, anytime that Jennifer says something is good, you obviously have to you do it
Yes.
because her taste is incomparable. Oh, hey.
Hi. Oh
Thank
my God, I'm
you.
so excited to be here. This is
Hi.
so fun. Hello, everybody. I'm sorry to interrupt you. You keep going, Jordan. You were, dropping gems. Go ahead.
But I was just saying, yeah, I got through the project through you, and then Jade and I just really connected, and the whole team, and it just seemed like a really clandestine experience. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that so much. And what's beautiful, and we'll get into this more in a little bit, but for those who are not aware, because you're obviously hearing the episodes come to life, but you're not actually seeing Jordan and Jennifer. But Jordan plays Jasmine James, and Jennifer voices Suzanne, her mother. And so I just feel like there's some magic that I'm excited to bring to life there. But I did not know that background about you hearing about the project through Jennifer. So Jennifer, tell us more about what made you say yes. What excited you about the project and getting to bring Red for Revolution to life? Uh-oh. Okay. Hopefully she comes right back on. No worries. But yes, okay, so let's talk more, because when you first said something that excited you was jazz,
Mhm.
I thought you were actually referring to your character. Okay.
Hi.
Here you are.
Well, first of all, I just have to say how excited I am to be here. I mean, so many of my favorite people. I mean, Jordan is, my heart. Liz and Loren, I met at a market in Venice and just fell in love with them. And number five is probably one of my favorite blends. And, Jana is just a goddess, a creator goddess. Um, when I first read the project, when I go to look at a project, and I read the script, I look for that moment where there's a kind of a quickening, where there's a connection to the character.
Mhm.
And I did not feel that at all with Suzanne. I felt zero connection. However, I was so excited about this project.
Mhm.
I was so excited about how original it is, how bold it is. And certainly, we all are aware that Black female queer liberation is set in the intersection of multiple systems of oppression. Racism, sexism, homophobia, and oftentimes classism. And these are all really complex issues that are layered, and you don't see them in mainstream media very often. But also there's this beautiful intersection at Black female queer liberation that is full of joy, that is full of magic, and that is full of power. And this is something that this project was diving into. And I thought, I want to be on that expedition. I want to be with these miraculous, amazing creators. And I thought, you know what? I will take this as an acting exercise and I'm going to figure out my way in. I'm going to figure out my way into Suzanne without judging, because I mean, Jordan knows you can't judge your character and act at the same time. That doesn't really work. And it was incredibly hard. And I almost had to go about it in a forensic sort of way in which I was not accustomed. But I kind of stacked the deck with suggesting Jordan, because I know that she's so wildly, wildly, wildly talented, and we already had an amazing relationship that we had laid the foundation to in the L Word. So I knew making the leap of imagining her as my daughter and imagining, how much I love her and that all of this reprehensible behavior is actually coming out of love. I just, that's where we were. So that's my spiel.
Yeah, I love said so many really important points. Number one, talking about that intersection of racism, sexism, homophobia. And though you were sort of like reticent to bring that character life, I'm so glad that you did, because we do need to tell the stories of mothers like Suzanne so that we can push through and wade through and say, hey, love looks different than what you have been conditioned to believe it is. And as someone who has a beautiful Black mother who I love, who struggled at first when I came out to her, there were moments where I could see glimmers in Suzanne of like thinking that you're protecting your child, thinking that you're trying to buffer them from this really harsh world that they've already witnessed as a Black woman, and saying, don't make life harder. And also, I'm not the one making life harder, right? It's the society around us that doesn't want to see a queer Black woman have joy, have safety, have dignity. So I'm so glad that you dug in and found a way to tell that story, because it is important for people to see themselves reflected, not necessarily with judgment, but also with honesty and with accountability,
Mm.
which I love else you did. So,
Well,
okay, so you
thank
talked
you. Thank
for,
you. And I also wanted to add, like, it was already in the text, like, and because Suzanne is conflating her own birth mother's death with her queerness. And so there's this odd fear that, as soon as her daughter tells her that she's queer, that she's going to die and that she's in danger. And then I think also there's all amounts of shame that are built in too. I mean, Suzanne has had to go through a landmine of, an identity landmine with her birth mother dying, her father, not wanting to be bothered to raise her. And so those are sort of two forms of abandonment. And certainly in my imagination, children can be so cruel. And I think Suzanne has experienced her own amount of shame and has worked really hard to be part of a community. And two, the woman that raised her, Ella, is not always there for her because she's so dedicated to the revolution that she sometimes doesn't see Suzanne. And I think Suzanne, unfortunately, is one of those people that is so concerned about what other people think and is putting that onto her daughter.
yeah,
Um, yeah.
layers and layers and layers. It's
Layers.
really, really real. Jordan, I want to bring you in too. What was it like portraying Jasmine? How much did you relate to her as a character? How much were you like, I have to learn different things? I mean, it feels like such a universal story, but at the same time, in a very specific era and time period that can feel distinct and not like the 21st century. So, what was that like for you?
I found Jasmine to be like a very emblematic teenager of right now. I think a lot of young queer people uh, in 2025 are learning how to negotiate their queerness and also how to harken back to revolution and how to organize politically and how to be so like I think it's so great to be a young queer person sometimes. And I think the one reason it is good right now in some ways is I get to think about what I like and what I identify myself as. And what I like in Jasmine is that she's also really interested in the collective as much as she is in her own individual identity. And so anyway, these are a lot of questions that I think about in my personal life of of how to, the classic thing of like think global, act local. But I didn't have to work really hard to connect with Jasmine. I think it just was like a thing that is, again, I think Jennifer talked to it too. It's in the script. It's a it was like a loose garment. It was really nice to live in that world.
Ooh, I love that analogy. And I love the nods you're both making to the script, which is so important. We just come out of an era of really advocating for writers and championing the work that they do. So I really appreciate y'all giving voice to that. Forgive my little baby in the background who is making too much noise, Bubby. Too much noise. But okay, so now I'm curious when you think of especially the world we're in now, where queer and trans folks, trans especially, are under attack, where Black folks and stories are under attack, where it feels like trying to talk about liberation and women deserving to take up space is being sidelined. Does it hit differently that this story is coming out in this moment? Because you all filmed this in a very different time, but it's debuting and reaching listeners in this era where some of these themes feel really present. How is that shifting the way that you think about the project?
I don't feel so much of a shift in the way, I think about the project, but I have been thinking a lot about collective memory. I've been thinking a lot about collective memory and how storytelling and these projects um, contribute to collective memory at a time when systemic erasure is being attempted. And so delving into these stories and being reminded of what matters and being reminded of the joy and being reminded of the power and being reminded of the history, the intergenerational history is really important. And I remember somebody on Instagram talking about how, they can say that the color green doesn't exist. They can try to legislate by saying the color green doesn't exist, but the color green exists and it's beautiful and it's always been there and it will continue to be there. And I think what these stories do is it starts to add to the collective memory, which is so powerful.
Mm.
I love that. That's really important. I'm so glad you also centered that around collective memory, because we really do need to be thinking critically about how we're not revisionist about this moment, but also how it's straddling this line of wanting to reflect the times, but also want to affirm a better time. It seems. And so the stories that we tell, how we tell them, what we give voice to really is a big part of that. Jordan, any thoughts and reflections that you have?
I I don't know. That's sort of been my general vibe. Um, but what I do love is that Jana, I guess, can tell the story, but I love the story about how this whole thing came about was through a prompt for her master's degree, which was tell a love story. And her choice was love is liberation. And so that's just what I always like to harken back to, is like love for liberation, love in liberation in this moment. So yeah.
That was perfect. It's as if you knew the questions that I was about to ask, because the final question that I have for both of you is, on this International Women's Day, what does queer women's liberation look like? What does Black women's liberation look like? And what would you want to leave listeners with if they're falling in love with characters like Jasmine and learning from characters like Suzanne? What would you want people to be reflecting on throughout this Women's History Month?
For me, I think the most powerful thing there is in the way that gravity is powerful is love, and to go forward and dive headfirst into love and to be in community is the most important, powerful thing that you can do, and not give way to isolating and not give way to fear in the way that Suzanne did. You just dive into love and surround yourself in love. It is the most powerful thing that you can do.
Mm.
Yes. No individualism. That's not the answer. Community and love and care are antidotes to the rise in fear and hate that we're seeing. I couldn't agree more. Jordan, any thoughts you have?
Yeah, I think specifically with the way that Jasmine reaches out to her community is intergenerationally, and I think if you are touched by this story and want to reach out to your elders, do it, girl. Like talk to make your own podcasts. Like talk to your I love what you were saying, Jennifer, about collective memory. Like get the story straight and talk to the people you love.
I mean, yeah, wow. Thank you both so, so much. It is no wonder that you bring these characters to life so, so beautifully. We're going to let y'all sign off and enjoy your International Women's Day. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your gifts and your talent and your reflections in this moment. Definitely going to be thinking a lot about collective memory and about care and about love is liberation, Jennifer, to the thoughts that you said, and Jordan, to you about making sure that we're honoring these intergenerational connections. Remembering that there's so much that we get from not giving up on each other, and honoring that we come from different times and we are fed by different fears, but that if love is our unifying force, their conversation can be a driving force for change. So thank you both so much.
Thank
Sending my
you.
love.
Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you.
All right.
Awesome.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Whew. Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. I just feel like I could sit and just reflect on what they had shared for quite some time with you, Jana. I do, before I bring up the next few panelists, want to just ask you to share more about that story, about you and that question of writing a love story and why this as that love story and love is liberation.
I didn't know he was about to do that.
Listen, I mean, Jordan, I didn't think Jordan was going to say that, but it was so powerful. And I was just like, okay, I feel like we need that story because your mind, how did you respond to that moment with this? It's truly beautiful.
That was not in the run of show, folks. So this answer that I'm about to give is off the top of my mind.
We love.
No, but first, thank you, Brea, and thank you to Jennifer and Jordan. I love you both so much. It means so much to have you here. I was so excited when you both said you'd be able to do this, and when you both came on board to the project. We have stories for days, y'all. It was really such a treat getting to work with the two of them. What did you ask me? Love of liberation in that story.
Yeah, the story of
I should know it because I tell it everywhere I go. But
and you lived it.
right, and it's my life, and it's my life. So essentially, when I was in college and applying to grad school, a prompt about love at first sight was presented, and I thought that was corny, and I wanted to sort of do something to subvert the corniness of love at first sight, and I sort of deviated from romantic love and platonic love and all these other forms of love to write about love for revolution, and the love that really inspires people to go out and set their own comforts and conveniences aside to fight on behalf of other people or other individuals. And that sort of idea was really sparked through hearing the stories of women in the civil rights movement, women in the Black liberation movement. And when I tell this story, I usually tell the story of Miss Erica Huggins, who we had the honor of honoring at our launch. And I don't know time, so I don't remember when we launched, but at our launch party in San Francisco, we had the honor of presenting Miss Huggins with an award, and the story of how she essentially dropped out of school upon reading a single pamphlet. She read a pamphlet, and not too long after reading a pamphlet, dropped out of school to join the Black Panther Party to help Huey Newton gain his freedom. And she was living in Philadelphia at the time and drove across the country to California to help a single person become free. And I just was trying to wrap my mind around what in the world possesses somebody to make those decisions. And that's essentially where Red for Revolution was born, sitting with this love for revolution, for liberation, and for coming together to save one another, essentially.
That's so beautiful. That is so, so beautiful. Thank you for sharing it. And apologies for putting you on the spot, but
Oh, it's
like
all
to hear more about that story. I mean, what? So thank you for that. We're going to bring up our two next panelists. Renée Wilson is an executive producer and the voice of Lloren on the project. So we're excited to bring Renée up. And then Tammy Hall, who is the music director extraordinaire, a Grammy award winning icon, and just pianist, composer, musical director, educator. There she is, Tammy Hall. We are so
Hi.
grateful that you took time. Happy International Women's Day. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Brea. Happy International Women's Day to you and to everyone.
Yes,
This is
what a
so fabulous.
and Renée, EP
Yay!
and actress, and holding all of the hats and all of the things that need to get done. We love and see you. Happy International Women's Day.
Hi. Happy International Women's Day to you too.
Amazing. Okay, well, I'm so excited to have you both on because y'all are doing work behind the scenes, but also that is just integral to the mood and spirit of Red for Revolution coming to life. Obviously, the music and the scoring behind it, which I know people be in the comment section on Instagram like, okay, but where's that song? Like, I really love that from this episode, but then also the way, yeah, just the way that y'all tell the story. So, how did you all get connected to Red for Revolution, and what made you say, yes, this is a project that I want to help bring to life?
Renee.
I got connected to the project because Jana and I, we actually entered this film kind of grant competition. We both won, and we were all very excited about that. And then we started getting into the contracts, and we didn't know each other at all. And I happened to see her post something about her project in another group we were in, and I said, hey, can we talk? And then we found out that this wasn't a good thing to continue on doing. So we both decided not to be a part of that, even though we won. And about a year later, Jana contacted me and sent me the script and the pitch deck and was wondering if I knew of any musicians who lived in New York, because she was going to make the podcast in New York on her own. And I was like, yeah, let me think about it. So I read the scripts and the pitch deck, and I just immediately loved everything about it. And I was like, yeah, I know some musicians, but I would actually really love to just be a part of this. And so that's really how we began. And I'll let Tammy talk, but we've known each other for quite a long time, Tammy and I.
Okay. So Renee talked to me about Red for Revolution and met Jana, and I read the script, and it brought tears to my eyes because it made me remember some things when we're talking about collective memory, and how some older generations have had to be very subversive about being the love that they are. So the act of love is really a state of being. You are deciding, it's not outside of you. And so everything that you are about love, when it has to be underground and in and within the context of a movement of people, because there are people in the movement too that are not going to accept you. That's huge. That's huge. And it resonated with me very, very much because it unfortunately continues. In fact, all of this is not, what is the saying? The more things change, the more they remain the same. The only thing that's different is technology about it. We haven't really changed that much. And I don't mean the we in this
Right.
live right now, but we have not. And so it was really easy for music to start coming up. Renée is my personal muse, I have to say. And Jana giving ideas for lyrical content, and the three of us working on those things because it was a collaborative effort. It was a dream come true for me. I mean, a long time ago, I said I wanted to do something like this, and who knew, it might turn up as a podcast. But I said I want to score for movies. I want to write a musical. I want to do all of that. And now now here's Red for Revolution. And so when your dream meets you, you better be ready, you know,
Yes.
say yes and go for it. And that's, I'm sure I didn't touch on everything about how it came together, but that it did, and that it did with these two women in particular is very important to me. I don't think it could have
Hmm.
happened with anyone else. And so I'm just very, very proud and honored to be in this number, if you will. And I'm still working on the songs that have already been written, but I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it on stage. I'm seeing it on screen. That's where I want to go.
Come on, visionary. We love it.
Yeah.
See it. Oh, I love so many things that you said about being ready for your dream that you call out into the world is so important. But also that this couldn't have been done by any other group of people. And I couldn't
Right.
agree more. What so excites me about Red for Revolution is that it's not just a beautifully done story that is told about Black women and queer women. It's also a beautiful story told by Black women, queer women, and it just, you can feel it permeates through the project. And there's so many times that you see a project or you're watching something and you're like, okay, like on the surface is cool, but something about it doesn't have that heart. And then you look
Mm-hmm.
at the who's behind the scenes on it and you're like, oh, that's why, because they're
Exactly.
telling a story about us, but they are not us. So what was that experience of telling this story as Black women, not needing to do research on what Black women talk like and think like and what music they listen to, but just knowing innately and being able to go off of those gut instincts? Or maybe there was more research that you had to do because it's a different era and time, and that jazz music and sound coming to life. But yeah, just what was that process like for you all, getting to tell this story in that way?
Well, for me, it was again, it was like stepping into the dream. The door flung wide open, and why should Quincy Jones have had all the fun, all the guys? It's like, thank you. Patrice Rushen and Brenda Russell are the only two producers of music and still living that I know of, on that caliber. Um, and so it's like, oh, I can not only dip my toe in the water, I'm going into the deep end of the pool, and the music is already so wonderful. So there was a lot to pull from memory, from experience, and then to give it my experience without sounding like somebody else, and to be trusted by Renee and Jana that can happen was just, that was wonderful. It's still mind blowing. So it's yeah, I am over the moon about all of it.
I love that so much.
So
Oh, this is just warming my heart. This is the experience that every Black woman creative should get to have on
yes.
this. Renee, what are your thoughts?
Well, one of the things for me that I love about this project, one of the many things I love about this project, is that we did create this together, as women, as Black women, Black queer women, just all of the people that this is about, we came together to make it. Jana created this beautiful story, this beautiful script, these powerful categories. I came in to help executive produce it, and then I got to act in it. And then when we started thinking about the music, my first thought was Tammy L who's very humble and has a very huge heart, and also a massive amount of work that's just mind-blowingly gorgeous. And so when we were thinking about how we could make this music, I pitched the idea. So what about Tammy? And so the three of us met, Jana and Tammy and I, and it just worked right away. It was an understanding. There was a common language. There was a love for these women, the women in the story, but also the women that the stories were inspired by. We all love jazz. We all love just really good, deep, powerful music that makes people feel something. And so that comes from just us, our lived experiences, our souls, and what we think sounds good. And for me, just as someone who came on to help produce this thing, I love not having anybody tell me what I can do and what I cannot do. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
and this is why I feel like why you hear that in the project, because we didn't have anyone saying, well, that's too much, or, this is too little. That was an internal conversation, and we all got to decide what stayed, what left, whatever. And so I think that authenticity comes through, which is why I'm such a proponent of just making your own work.
Yeah.
However you can. It's great to
Mhm.
collaborate. Well, this is a collaboration, but I mean, in terms of like when you have an idea, just start doing it, because you never know. This whole thing was a never know. I mean, Jana, and I connected about something completely different, something negative actually in the very beginning, and then 3 years later, we're here at this beautiful moment,
Yeah.
with this beautiful project that's already in the world, making, I hope, a difference in people's
Yeah.
lives.
Yeah. I love that so, so much. And what I love that you're getting about is agency breeds authenticity,
Mm-hmm.
and right now the most vilified phrase right now is diversity, equity, and inclusion. But truly, diversity is one thing, inclusion is one thing, but equity is what makes it real. Equity is what makes it
Yeah.
authentic. Being the stakeholder, being the decision maker, being the power holder allows you to move with that much purpose. And so coming out of this project, how does it shape the projects that you want to be attached to in the future when you think of Black women having control and a say and being drivers of a creative vision?
Mm. Um, yeah. I mean, I think one of the reasons why I started my company is to work with like-minded creators, to work with creators that I admire and that I love, and that I'm like, this story has to be told. Like this, the world needs to hear this story from this amazing person, and to tell my own stories, but also to have um, an outlet for people to be able to say what they need to say and what they want to say. And I guess I just want more of it. I just want more of that. And when I think about projects in the future, I mean, I'm still phase 10, but like Tammy and Jana, we all also see it ongoing, see it in a visual medium, see it on stage or on film or television. And so we really want to take what we began together as this audio drama and continue the story, because there's so many more stories to be told. And that's what I would want for everybody. And so, and for me, any project that I choose to be on, I have to feel it, like in my soul. Like I know right away when it's something that I need to be a part of, and that's how I feel and how I felt with Red for Revolution.
I love that. Anything you want to add to that, Tammy?
No, I just want to work with them.
I love
That's,
that, but that is the
that's
greatest gift and
it.
compliment when you finish up a project. There's so many people who are like, "Whoo, we work together too closely. I need a break from you," and you are
Mm-mm,
like, "No, what we
no.
doing next, y'all?
Yeah.
What's next?"
Exactly.
I love that energy. I love that energy so much. Well, okay, so today is International Women's Day. So in addition to wanting to celebrate Red for Revolution as such an important project right now, I also want to talk about the urgency of this moment. That as was said earlier, some of these themes might feel like, oh, that's from another time, but they're really not. We're in the 21st century in 2025, seeing a lot of these same themes play out: sexism and racism and homophobia, misogynoir, and just Black women not being given seats at the table, not being given permission to lead and take up space, but still have to deal with the ramifications of other people's leadership, right? When you think of both as an artist, but also as Black women, what this moment means, what is the urgency you feel to really champion Black queer women's liberation? And I know that's a heavy question, so feel free to take some take some time with that. It's deep, and I'd love to hear
Yeah.
reflections too from those who are tuned in. Like if you want to drop in the
Mm.
chat what you're thinking about what they're sharing, what you think about that question about the urgency of this moment. But yes, I'd love to hear both of y'all's thoughts.
I think it's really important to work intergenerationally, and for the generation older than me, I just turned 64 last Monday. It's like,
Happy
uh,
birthday!
thank
What?
you.
Oh my
And so
goodness.
I'm having that moment of, oh, now that's me. Now I'm that generation, and that we can't sit down. We can't sit down and say that's not our fight anymore. It really is. And for the times that I have been afraid and or timid or not so encouraged to speak up at the grand age of 64, I really don't care what anyone thinks anymore. And you got to stand up and say what you know is truth. All the better yet to be embodying it. And so that's really that's what I'm trying to do, and I think that's what's important for all of us, and to listen to the younger generation. Listen to the younger generation with a very open heart and be there to support. There's nothing for us to lead per se. Let's stand by side by side. Let's embrace each other. And if people can't remember that embrace, let's create an embrace for them to know that they can stand in. And that's what it's about for me right now.
That's really
But
powerful. Thank you for that.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's really beautiful. And I, another thing about this project that I love so much is our band. I just want to shout them out because we
Yes.
have an all-female band, some of which are Black queer women or queer women. So even in the music, I mean, we get that experience and how they think, love, play their instruments. I also want to give a shout out to our producer, Liz McBee, because without Liz McBee,
Yeah.
so many things would not have happened. But she also brings, her experience to this table, so to speak. And I also wanted to bring up something that another one of our amazing cast members, Anjanou Ellis Taylor, said in her speech was about, forget these seats at the table, right? Like, let's build our own tables. And I
Yes.
really love that because then you can build it how you want it. You can build the world how you want it to be. And when I think about what that means in terms of liberation and everyone feeling like they have a place to be because you already do. No one has to give you permission for that you're already free, right? And in this world, as so many things are in upheaval and so many things are changing, I too, to echo what Jennifer was saying, really lean into love and anchor into love and love as much as I can and whatever I have an impact on a day-to-day basis. I really try to go with that as my core because I also see in this time of turmoil and change the shift, a huge shift to more people receiving, to more people leaning into the wisdom of the earth and of forgiveness and feminine. And when I say feminine, that does not mean like women. That just means that energetics of that. And I feel like this shift of like a hyper masculine energy moving. And for me, this conversation couldn't be more perfect than to be held on International Women's Day because there is a nurturing and a care and a power. And my grandmother loved tough and hard, and that's love too. And so I feel like we can bring all of these forms of love to the table to change, to activate, to make the world freer for everyone, however you want to be in the world, And so I guess that's me leaning into everything that is present, and just being with the heart of that truth.
Yeah. My gosh. Yeah. That's really, first of all, thank you for giving the shout out to the band. I actually did not know that the band was all Black queer women and queer women. And I mean, again, the intention all throughout this project is so palpable. And we need more of that more than ever right now. We need, as Anjani Taylor said, we need our own land, we need our own structures, we need our own tables. We're not begging for anyone else's seats or anyone else's crumbs, but what does it mean to be fully seen, heard, and valued? And that happens when we're in rooms with each other, and when we're not necessarily begging for the Elon Musks of the world, the Donald Trumps of the world. Like, hate to even bring their names into this live, but like, that's not, we're not looking to be included into anything, any vision that they have. We're building out spaces that are so much grander and more beautiful, and allow us to be our full unapologetic selves. So I really appreciate you saying that. And it just leaves me really reflective about what the answer is in this moment, and how art can be an answer. You know, there's so many quotes that I love. There's a quote by Tony Kade Bambara who said, "The role of the artist is to make the revolution irresistible." There's Nina Simone who said, and I know that Nina Simone is also a muse for you all, and someone who has influenced some of these characters. And Nina Simone said that the art is supposed to reflect the times, and what it means to create art that is worth imitating, that is worth reflecting back towards, that is worth looking to as a mirror. And y'all have done that. Y'all have created a project that is so beautiful, allows us to be so seen, but also the complexity that even amongst ourselves, there's still things that we're dealing with because of what we are fielding from the outside world. So if you could leave the Black women who are listening, the queer women who are listening, the gender marginalized people of all backgrounds who are listening, with any affirmation, any words, any call to action, what would that be?
I would say you are loved, you are supported, you are loved. Love yourself first and foremost, um, and be where you're wanted, and where you're valued, and create those spaces for yourself where you're valued, and everybody else can whatever. I mean,
Don't let the doorknob hit them where the good Lord stood. All that.
I forgot who said this, but it was it might have been Zora, but it was like basically it was like, I feel bad for people who want to hate on me, who don't want to get to know me. This is obviously paraphrasing. She said, because I'm dope, like I'm amazing, so it's like not your loss, even if it may feel like it in the moment, but it's like really being authentically you. And I guess that's all I can say. There's a lot of love out here.
Yeah, yeah. Tammy, any affirmations that you have, any love you want to share with the women on the call?
Know yourself. Know yourself, and know that you are enough, and that as you are perfect as you are. And as you continue to grow, you become more perfect. So in this regard, perfection is not death. It's not the end. It's an ongoing cycle. Be the love that you're looking for, because there is
Ooh.
no other savior. You're it. You're it.
Mm-hmm.
And we're here to help you recognize if you need some help recognizing. Again, it's about the embrace. And then to further Miss Hurston's thought, there's a song that says, "Why don't you come live with me? I'd come and live with me if I were you."
Mm-hmm.
So
Love that.
it's to have that, really, that's not arrogant.
Mm-mm.
That's a knowing.
Yes.
That's a
Mm.
knowing.
Ah, I love that. That's a knowing. Being so secure in who you are and what you bring to the table, what you add,
Hmm.
that no one else can make you uncertain of your glow, of your sparkle, of your
Hmm.
unique gift that you bring. And I also love what you said about, people are so afraid to think of themselves as perfect or near perfect. Um, because we associate it with like infallible. But what I love is that
Hmm.
like you are more perfect when you are just you, when you
Yes.
are uniquely you, leaning into that, not trying to be anyone else, not trying to fit anyone else's box. And I just love the way that this project brings that to life and honors
Hmm.
um, just the depth and breadth that we have in our community, in our space, and that all this range of beautiful Black women are beautiful and perfectly made. And I'm just so grateful that you two and Jana took the time to bring this story to life in this way. It is such a love letter, such a ode to this moment, and we are also eternally grateful. And we're so sad that we're coming up on the last episode, but we are so, so grateful, and it's been a gift, and it will continue to be a gift. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, Again, Tammy, happy belated birthday and happy International
Thank
Women's
you.
Day. And we send you so, so much love. And we bid you adieu. And now I'm going to leave it with this creator, this EP, these artists, these collaborators, Jana and Renee. Y'all have done something so monumental in bringing Red for Revolution to life. Thank you for trusting me to help curate some of this conversation, and to help spread Red for Revolution's love and magic and seeds with the world. And thank you for continuing to water us and remind us of our just inherent beauty. And I'm just so grateful to you both. So before I sign off, happy International Women's Day. And thank y'all for being who you are, answering the call, and doing exactly what this moment needed from you.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
I
thank you, Brea. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
you.
And
We love
everybody,
you.
go get a copy of Rooted.
Thank you.
Brea's book. Somebody put that in the chat, preferably at your local Black-owned bookstore.
Yes, to that.
Yes.
Yes, to
If you
that.
don't have one, go to Reparations Club or Loudmouth Books. Those are two really great Black-owned bookstores. Follow Brea. Well, you all see her name in the live. So give
I
Brea a
appreciate.
follow and check out her latest work.
Thank you, Boo. All right, I will sign off so that y'all can close us out and take up this space. But again, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you both so much.
Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. Okay, we're coming to the end.
Hi,
We're
Jana.
about to sign off. Thank you all so much for taking the time to spend with us today. Thank you to Liz and Lloren of Le Trois for doing such a phenomenal grounding exercise and setting the tone for our conversation. Thank you again to Brea and to Jennifer Beals and Jordan Hall, two of our phenomenal cast members who have blessed this project as well as just my life in general. Thank you to Renee and to Tammy. My goodness, it's been such a treat getting to collaborate and bring this story to life with you both. Now, I know we got to shout out, there are so many people who helped us with this project who helped us pull all of these things off. So Liz McBee, our phenomenal producer, thank you so much. I think she's somewhere. She's been in the chat. Thank you, Liz, for everything that you do. We wouldn't be here without you. To our sound designer, Colin Gerald Thomas. We love and appreciate you so much. I think he's actually probably editing right now, putting some final touches on some things that we need. So thank you to Colin, our phenomenal band, our phenomenal cast. We have so many wonderful people in the cast. Thank you to all of you who've shown up. I see some friends in here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Renee, I'll let you. I'm 99% sure I'm forgetting people. So,
Well, yes. Well, we have so many people to thank. I'm also going to shout out our associate producers. Miss Jordan Hall is one of them. So thank you, Vanessa E. Williams, and my son, Adrian Snegg. Shout him out.
yes. Where's Adrian?
One of the youngest producers. You said, where's Adrian?
Yeah.
I know I should have brought him in, but it's just so many people. So please, like, it's really important to comment and share and download episodes. If you love it, please share. It really makes a difference to keep making it possible for us to tell these stories. And all the Apples and Spotify's love to see that. But more importantly, just let it go into your heart, into your ears, and resonate. It's such a joy to have it out in the world and to have it be something that you all can hear. And yeah, you can also go on the website and see our long list of thank yous for all the people that have helped us, and I'm sure there's more. So thank you to everyone who is a part of this project, and to you as audience members. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, you all, we're going to bid you all a farewell. Thank you again. We'll be offline in the chat, in the comments. Make sure you listen next Tuesday. Our final episode 6 comes out. So be ready. The episode will drop next Tuesday, and it's going to be such a treat. We hope you all enjoy. Like, review, leave a comment on Apple and Spotify. Thank you all so much for your support thus far. Until next time, bye-bye, everybody.
Oh, I thought I was going to sing.
Oh, wait. You can, yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
Go ahead.
I'm going to close with a song. It's actually a mantra. And some of you may know it. It's the Gayatri mantra. And just want to open with grounding in our hearts and closing with grounding in our hearts. So I'm going to read to you one interpretation of what it is about before I sing. O manifest and unmanifest, wave and ray of breath, red lotus of insight, transfix us from eye to navel to throat, under canopy of stars, spring from soil in an unbroken arc of light, that we might immerse ourselves until lit from within like the sun itself. So I really invite you to just sit with that, like lit from within like the sun itself, because we all are that. Om Bhurbuva Svaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dio Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhurbuva Svaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dio Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhurbuva Svaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dio Yona Prachodayat. Om. Thank you all so much for being here. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you, and thank you, Renee. That's all, folks. Have a good day. Bye.